Okay,
All right.
perfect.
Awesome.
All right, guys. All right, Jed. Thank you so much for being here. Welcome to a Crypto Bros AMA. This is Crypto Jacob, Crypto Gons, and Crypto Danny.
Hey guys.
Guys, Jed is the CEO of Peer Mountain, so we're going to be doing an AMA with him today.
Awesome.
Danny, you want to start off?
Yeah, sure.
All right, awesome.
Thanks, Jed, again for having us. We're gonna start off with some relatively easy questions. Like, for example, how did you get into blockchain? What inspired you to get this project? How did you hear about crypto?
I've been looking at trust, actually, the issue of trust online for many years, since before blockchain, actually. I was looking at it since I realized that Facebook and LinkedIn and these kind of walled gardens were actually digitally colonizing the internet and extracting value in a way that exploited our privacy and personal information.
Mm-hmm.
And following that, in 2008, I started thinking about that 2005 and 6. In 2008, I came across a paper called How to Make a Mint. It
Mm-hmm.
was published on a site called cryptome.org. I don't know if you read that site, but it's a pretty good site. It's been around since 1996. It was like the original WikiLeaks.
Oh,
Oh,
And
interesting. Okay.
that paper describes how to make digital cash and how to exchange digital assets anonymously.
okay.
And so then I started thinking about really making a solution. And then, of course, Bitcoin, the Bitcoin white paper, and Bitcoin showed what could be done. So instead of needing a witness all the time, it was clear to me already then in the end of 2009, beginning 2010, when I first discovered this, that blockchain is the trust engine that could make this a reality. So I started looking at how to build Peer Mountain. At the time, it was called the Trust Project in my notebooks.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking at how to build a system to establish trust the way people trust online. And so I've been thinking about it a long time. I wasn't really into cryptocurrency, so to speak. I'm not an altcoin kind of crypto guy. I'm
Yeah.
Fair
into
enough.
trust. I'm into what blockchain can do as an engine of trust.
Okay.
And I actually filed the first intellectual property protection on the architecture of the peer chain protocol under the name the Trust Project in 2015. And I'd been actually designing it concretely since 2013 at that point.
Okay.
Okay.
Awesome. Awesome. And could you explain your project? How can users actually use it and just stuff like that? Could you explain it for us?
Sure. Yeah. What's special about Peer Mountain is it really is it's not a digital identity solution, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
It's a trust protocol, and the peer chain protocol is a blockchain agnostic protocol, so it's a cross chain. So the architecture of Peer Mountain, you can have multiple deployments, multiple chain instances amongst trusted stakeholders. And then the peer chain protocol lets you move digital assets and trust across those. So from an end user standpoint, what it means is you're going to have a solution that actually blockchain is transparent. You don't even need to know that it's running on blockchain. You'll have a mobile app.
Right.
And the way you'll use it is if you want to get a credit card, for example, there are three roles. It's peer to peer, so any player can be all three roles.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to get a credit card, you'd find a QR code or a link or whatever invitation from a credit card provider. You scan that, and then you choose to share your information with them. They validate it. You accept who's going to validate it. And if everything checks out for everybody, then you can get that service. In the future, when you want to rent a car with Peer Mountain, you would like walk up to the rental lot. You find the car you want or the one in the slot that you booked. If you booked it, you'd scan a QR code on the dashboard, take a selfie,
Mm-hmm.
swipe like on Tinder. You swipe in your
Right.
driver's license and the stuff you want to share. There you
Exactly.
go. This is what I'm sharing with the rental company, and I'm agreeing to share it with them for as long as they need it for me to have the car because I want that from them. And then I would take a quick video around the car so that we can recognize the license plate, make, model, color, condition. And then they could actually give me keyless entry right into my phone,
Uh-huh.
and then I could use that to get in the car and drive away. So it's
Okay.
pretty awesome. I mean, you can walk into a lot, and in 5 minutes, you could get in the car and drive away.
That's
Wow.
just so much easier than doing all the paperwork.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
that's the point. It's a protocol that lets you have that trust, and the blockchain will give us a permanent ledger of trust.
Mhm.
So the longer you use Peer Mountain, the bigger trust you can build up. And actually, the trust providers, the
Uh-huh.
attestation providers, the more they're relied on, the more they're going to earn in PMT. So if you are super trustworthy, you can actually earn more than someone who's not trustworthy or respected for their expertise in an area. And if you push that down to like an individual level,
Uh-huh.
If you think about, I could take a picture of you and you take a picture of me, and we would certify that we trust each other by giving us those certificates. And then someone who trusts me that you meet, you could share that cert and go, well, Jed trusts me, so you should trust me too a bit. And you can use that to establish trust. But if you think about it on another level, like imagine if Vitalik would give a certificate that says this guy's a really good Solidity programmer.
Yeah.
If you get that kind of certificate, that's a personal level of trust, and that's a validation. Obviously, Vitalik would want to be careful who he gives those to, otherwise he wouldn't be trustworthy anymore.
Exactly.
So that's the whole way the system works.
And speaking of Vitalik and his platform Ethereum, is your we already read the white paper, but is your platform run off an ERC20 token, or what are you running on?
Yes, the PMT will be an ERC20 token now. And we are building the first release of Pure Mountain is built using Ethereum and HBase as a data store.
Okay.
And future versions can run on other chains. It's a microservice architecture, so we could implement, for example, a Stellar blockchain underneath Pure Mountain. We could use IPFS to do the store or storage, any solution with distributed storage. We're just putting encrypted objects there, and any chain where we can store hashes, because it's just a hash chain.
Yeah.
So today, though, it's Ethereum and HBase and an ERC20 token that will be on the public Ethereum network. Those tokens will be transportable between Pure Mountain instances using Ethereum public network as the backbone or the rail to do that at the beginning.
Right.
But in a future release, we may migrate to a native PMT token, which would then not need a rail, and it would go directly from Pure Mountain instance to instance. That's feasible with the protocol, but we're not going to do that in day one. It's ERC20, and it's going to be that way at least until the end of 2019, I would say.
Okay.
Right. Sounds awesome.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, Jed, I was just wondering. So you guys work with public information. You guys work with people's information. So I was wondering, like, how's your security doing? Like, how does that work? What do you guys use?
It's like a crypto wallet. So everything is encrypted. You maintain your keys. You're the only person that can access the information. And when you choose to share the information with another party, another peer on the network, what happens is actually you encrypt a copy of it with their public key that only they can decrypt.
Okay.
And so the information sharing happens all PKI-based encryption. Everything is encrypted in motion and at rest. So it's all very, very confidential.
Okay. Cool.
And you manage, there's no backdoor, nobody else has access to your keys. You manage those yourself. It's just like a crypto wallet in that you also have a bunch of words you have to write down when you set up your Pure Mountain account. And if you lose your phone or you get a new phone, you need to use those words to recover your.
So you have phrases, right? It's like phrases.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. Exactly.
Okay.
There's also another recovery method that we're implementing. It's not going to be in release 1, but it's in the white paper. It's a quorum-based method. And the way that works is your private information will be segmented into slices. And if you trust, in that case where I said we take pictures of each other and trust each other, so you take a group of your friends, for example, where you've done that already, and maybe your lawyer, one of your family members, your best friends, and then you say, I've got 7 people here, and I need 5 of the 7 to agree. And if they all agree, then they can recover my key information, and they can recover my account. The reason that's really useful is in case you die or something happens where you're incapacitated completely.
Right.
And these people that you trust would need to then recover your information.
Makes sense.
That does make sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, as far as like I know you already mentioned some of the use cases for the token, like paying like the trustees and the trusters with it. But can you go over some token, I guess, usability factors that you're working on, like for your token?
Yeah, what do you mean by usability factors exactly? You want me to describe the tokenomics, how it works, basically?
Yeah, like what, like realistically, like what it's used for. Like what are some use factors for the token itself? Mm-hmm.
It is the means of exchange in the Pure Mountain ecosystem. So the PMT, and because it's in Pure Mountain instances, which are blockchain agnostic, we need a PMT to do that. And it's the unit of account for trustworthiness, actually. So service providers pay every time an invitation is consumed. So if like Avis has a Pure Mountain instance and Wells Fargo has a Pure Mountain instance, if you would join the Wells Fargo one, they make a micropayment. And then when you join the Avis one, Avis makes a micropayment.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you consume a service, when I ask for an account from Wells Fargo or a car from Avis, that's when they also make a payment. And then those payments are used to pay the trust providers. So the trust providers are the people, the parties that actually validate that you're not on the FBI wanted list, that the ID that you took a picture of is real and is accurate, and all of these kind of roles. And we're not prescribing who does that. It's an open marketplace. So, let the best party win. Let the most cost effective and reliable validators provide trust for whoever needs it. So that's how it goes. In the consumer role, so the third role where you are the consumer, the way it works is so the service providers are paying the trust providers for establishing and creating that trust so that they can do business with the consumer. Now, the number of consumer transactions is what's going to drive the velocity of that economy. So the more consumers are asking for things, the more transactions, the more payments are going to happen between service providers and trust providers. Later on, the consumer can take on more of the service provider and trust provider roles. At the beginning, we're just going to implement the use case where we take pictures of our friends and cross-certify, and that you're actually being a trust provider and a service provider at the same time in that use case. So we just cancel that out. It's a zero. If you do it with two friends, it's a zero balance transaction. So one of the things that's important to us is the consumer doesn't need to worry about PMT at the beginning, because we don't want, there are a lot of people, I mean, you guys get crypto, you guys understand it, but we are the minority. And there are a lot of people out there that are going to have to use Peer Mountain if we want to get that wide adoption. And we're not going to want them to have to learn what is a token and how do they manage a token and how do they deal with a wallet. We want them just to download the Peer Mountain enabled app and begin to get the service they want, the rental car, the airplane ticket, whatever, hotel room. Later on, what we'll do is introduce other use cases where individuals, once we see usage patterns, where individuals can start to earn PMT or spend PMT to deliver service and provide trust. But that'll only come later on, and that'll be also gamified. So ultimately, we want to make it like fun. One of the things we were thinking of doing is actually when you get certification, so when your passport is validated or when your information about you is confirmed, those are like ribbons. So you have a fact, which we call an attestation, that goes on an assertion, and the assertion is the fact. So I'll say, I have blue eyes, for example, and then a third party who sees me can say, yes, Jed has blue eyes, and that confirmation of the fact that and the more of those you get, the more, the stronger your validation is. So if we can gamify that and make the tokens into something that you can earn, I think we can do something really cool. But that's farther down the road. Our initial goal is to not have the tokens in the consumer's mind so that we can just get mass adoption.
Okay. Awesome. Hey, Jed, I had a quick question as far as your project goes. Were you able to run like a beta or a prototype before running your coin into the market?
We are in alpha right now. So we have a mobile app on Android only that's in alpha. We also have the basic back system, so the chain and the storage and the messaging for the peer chain protocol. On the attestation engine side, we have some technology that's in beta, actually. The German customer has been given some stuff to test. So that's sort of where we stand today. Our plan is to run an MVP this spring, and then we will co-locate with our Swiss partner. We're going to put some of our team with some of their team, and they're going to work together on a train-the-trainer approach. And after that, so towards the end of the summer, we'll do the first deployment.
Wow. Awesome. Congrats.
Hey, Jed, what's the app name?
Peer Mountain.
Peer Mountain.
Yeah.
It's not in the App Store. It's closed source at the moment.
Okay.
We will open source them. What we're building is a mobile SDK with a reference UI for Android, and after it'll come out for iOS. And we're building an attestation engine SDK. Both of those, the SDKs, the mobile and the attestation engine, will be open source so that we can get wide adoption of Peer Mountain on those ends. The enterprise backend, where you define the services and you actually try to conduct business, that's going to be used by large institutions. That's not going to be open source. That's actually where we're going to make our money.
Well,
We have to
Jed,
feed our
yeah.
families too.
Yeah. Jed, I'm glad it's gonna be on Android because I'm the only one here that has one. So
Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing Android first because Android's just so much easier to do
Oh, I
Yeah.
because
agree.
it's
I agree.
open.
Yeah.
We can actually get access to the NFC antenna to do really cool stuff like read your passport chip directly from the chip.
Yeah.
So we can know that you actually have a passport that's valid in your hands and not a photocopy of one.
Mhm.
So on iOS, they don't let you access the NFC antenna. That's a major problem when it comes to checking IDs.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Makes
Yeah.
sense. But yeah, so like as far as like the can you explain a little bit as far as like the token metrics go for Pure Mountain?
You mean on the token sale?
Yeah, token sale wise, like price of the token, things like that. Hmm.
Yeah, the token sale. What we're doing is we're totally transparent. There is no private pre-sale, so there is no hidden deal. No tokens have been issued today. The
Okay.
first tokens will be issued in round zero. Round zero is what you normally would have called a pre-sale, but it's not a private pre-sale. It's a transparent pre-sale, and that has a 30% discount slash bonus, however you want to look at it on that. The parity rate is 3,000 PMT to 1 ETH
Okay.
is what it's set at. And we're planning to run through 5 rounds with a maximum of 39,000 ETH to be raised. And the discount is digressive. So as the rounds get bigger, the discount gets smaller.
Okay.
So there's a small first round with a 30% discount, and the second round is 24%, if my memory serves me right, with a larger amount of tokens. And it goes like that. And the way we want to run it is as fair and transparent as possible. But it's also, there's a lot of firsts in this, and we're trying to minimize the risk. We're trying to run reliable code that's been proven, especially with the smart contract, and to do it in a way that's fair for everyone. And so that's tricky. What we'll do is there's a KYC phase that's opening next week, actually,
Yep.
Okay.
and we'll allow people to fill in the KYC, and everyone who passes KYC is then going to be put into the round zero qualification. And then we'll sort, as we've said numerous times, we prioritize based on size. It's an enterprise product, so enterprises are going to buy large blocks of PM to power their Pure Mountain instances.
Mhm.
About 10 million PMT to Mountain. I'm getting an interconnection warning if I drop out. Just let me know.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, no
And
problem.
then also by time in. So the early supporters are going to have an advantage. And that's based on when you signed up for the email list. And using those, we're going to try to fill round zero. It looks like it's oversubscribed already.
Okay.
It's fair after. Bad news for U.S. persons are not U.S. persons in rounds.
Okay.
Ooh.
Losing you a little bit, Jed.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're losing you a little bit, man.
Just to repeat that for a couple people that weren't able to hear, U.S. investors will be excluded if I'm correct, right, Jed?
That's correct. We're not
Okay.
able to take in U.S. investors and U.S. buyers such.
Okay. Awesome.
So that's valid for like all the rounds, all like the whole sale in general. No U.S. investors.
That's not. You're breaking up a little bit.
Yeah.
So on round zero, we can't do U.S. because it's just not feasible. But what we will do will be a break of several weeks. So round zero, 5th,
Mm-hmm.
where we actually are engaged with our U.S. legal representatives. That the U.S. community is involved. We really want to include that because we intend to deploy Pure Mountain into the U.S. in 2019, 2020.
Yeah.
So we want to get some distribution there as well. So we're looking at the best way to do that. So if you are invited to fill out the KYC information, zero, but we will hopefully be able to include you in future rounds.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
Makes sense.
Where's it based on?
Oh man. man.
And hey, Jed, just a quick question because I know you've been basically all over the place, and you've been in London. I think you were in Washington just
Oh
recently.
yeah.
Where exactly are you based out of, and where's this project held?
Pier Mountain will be operating out of Luxembourg and Switzerland. So those are the two jurisdictions where the operating companies will be incorporated. The token sales conducted out of the BVI. So it's a BVI
Uh-huh.
company that will issue the tokens and receive the ETH. That's done in transparency and for tax purposes because there's no sales tax on a utility token sold out of the BVI,
Mm-hmm.
and there's no income tax on those funds. There are some token sales that have been conducted recently. There was one in France that I know of that raised a significant amount of money and was okay with the French regulator,
Mm-hmm.
but the French tax office, as soon as they raised that money, showed up and demanded like 60% of everything they raised.
Oh, wow.
They wanted
Jeez.
sales tax and they wanted income tax on the whole amount.
Wow.
So
Wow.
yeah,
Okay.
so we don't want to have that happen. I mean, that's bad for us. That's bad for the community. It's just a
Bad
big chunk of the
overall.
money going into taxes for no reason.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
That's
and
crazy.
yeah, I'm involved with a lot of groups on regulatory aspects of token sales and especially utility tokens. And we are working hard to get regulators and the industry together and to get some standards there and best practices. But it also means we have to engage with the tax authorities because the way tokenomics works, taxes are going to have to adapt. You can't just apply old tax laws to this. It just doesn't work. It creates too many disincentives. And yeah, so we'll see. The next couple of years are going to be very interesting.
Oh yeah, definitely, especially for the crypto community.
Oh
Definitely,
Oh, yeah.
definitely. A lot of
Yeah.
projects nowadays, especially in the next couple of years, are going to grow astronomically, and a lot of them will be
Yes.
adopted into today's world, especially. Yeah.
Oh yeah. That being said, Jed,
Centralization.
what sets you apart from your competition, man? It's breaking up,
Oh, Jed,
Jed.
Protocol. And can you get
were you able to hear that question a little bit? We'll just give it a little second. It's breaking up a bit.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Are you back? Oh, there you are.
Hey, what's hey,
It's the peer chain protocol is what actually we are a protocol for trust. So if you look
Okay.
at what people would consider to be our competition, they typically talk about identity providers.
Mhm.
And identity providers are nothing more than creating a single chain or using a public chain to record facts about an identity. And Peer Mountain is actually a cross-chain protocol for trust. So it's
Yeah.
a totally different idea. It's a totally different thing. And what we'll end up doing is aggregating all those identity providers onto Peer Mountain instances.
Mhm.
Because one of the things we're doing is total decentralization and distribution. So we are not monopolizing anything. We intend to build an ecosystem where nobody is in charge in terms of controlling and saying what's going to happen. It's up to the parties to interact amongst themselves. All we are doing is building the tech that lets that happen.
Wow.
Just the way Satoshi launched Bitcoin and then that
Mhm.
was it. I mean, it's there and everyone can use it and nobody can kick you off of it.
Exactly.
So it's the same idea with Peer Mountain. We intend to launch it and give the tech to enterprises who will create their instances, but they'll run those in the way they want to. If a bank wants to checkpoint their instance every 12 hours on a public blockchain, that's their business. If they want to never checkpoint it, that's also their business. We're not going to tell them what to do.
Right.
So the difference is that by providing that totally open ecosystem where the parties can configure and set it up the way they want to build the trust they want, and providing the protocol that allows those instances to interoperate, we become an aggregator of all the other silos. So if you have a digital identity that comes from your state or from a government, you can use that to sign onto your Peer Mountain instance. You cross sign.
Mhm.
Then the Peer Mountain your Peer Mountain persona has the trust that ID, that digital ID provides. You can then take another one. So if you have an Estonian EID and you have something from, I don't know, Nevada, whatever, you have Civic, you can attach all these to your Peer Mountain persona and you can concentrate all of that trust in there. But you can also start with nothing. I mean, if you deploy Peer Mountain into Africa, the most simple identity you could possibly have is just to take a selfie and to say, that's my name, and sign that selfie with your key.
Right,
And that's
yeah.
it. In the future, like 6 months down the road, you can show up somewhere and say, I'm the same guy who showed up before. See, here's the cryptographic proof.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the power of your project. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, are you guys working with any like trustees, I guess, like businesses and stuff that are already willing to implement like the platform?
Yeah, that's the Swiss partner that I have is a major Swiss financial institution. They're under NDA because they're a regulated institution. They don't want to be in the token sale process, but they are completely involved in the project on the tech side. So we are co-building with them. You know, their staff is fully aware of what we're doing. We've exchanged requirements, etc. Also, I have a German partner. So the Swiss have between 1 and 3 million access. They have direct access to 1 million users that they could deploy to rather quickly. They intend to, and that'll ramp up to 3 million over the next 2 years. Also, a German partner has 3 mobile apps, and across those 3 mobile apps, they have 9 million users in Germany already. And they also intend to use Peer Mountain as an identity and trust solution for them to do KYC and onboarding of their clients. So with those 2 plus other ones in the pipeline, we should have quite a few users in the pipeline to adopt Peer Mountain.
That's awesome.
That's great.
That's
One area where I'd like to also explore, but it's just a matter of not having resources yet to do that. There's too much to do. There's too much opportunity.
Yeah, of course.
Is the area of NGOs and blockchain for social good. So I really see like that take a selfie and declare your own identity kind of use case as something that could be really useful in Africa, for example. And actually, I have lunch with a guy who's working on the UN SDG, which is Sustainable Development Goals stuff, on tomorrow in London to discuss that. So,
That's
man,
awesome.
you're a busy man.
Definitely.
So, Jed, I was just wondering, how'd you put together your team?
I knew most of my team from before. The core members I've known from other projects, and we've worked together a long time.
Yeah.
So the Peer Mountain team is pulled together from experts that I have experience working with already. And then the rest of the elements that we needed to hire in, we just found the best people we could find and brought them in. And with a bias towards people that understand crypto and they're motivated by earning in crypto. I mean, we want skin in the game. So a lot of the Peer Mountain team is remunerated in PMT or will be remunerated in PMT, and they're totally motivated to make the token economy successful.
That's awesome. That is great to hear. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I guess like a leading up question to what the community can do. So what can like Telegram or like your followers, you know, Peer Mountain's followers do to help Peer Mountain grow and ultimately achieve this vision that you have?
Spread the word. At this point, spread the word and share your ideas. We're totally open to hearing ideas and suggestions. Obviously, we can't accommodate every idea, but the good ones we definitely take into account and we'll try to accommodate. So, but mostly spreading the word and letting people know. Also, keep a lookout for Peer Mountain and that we've discovered a number of scammers and fraudsters trying to already ride on the back of Peer Mountain. There's someone who's created impersonating accounts that look like Peer Mountain team members and going around trying to offer pre-sale, private pre-sale. There is no private pre-sale. If anyone offers you that, it's a fraud. It's a scam. They just want your ETH and you're not going to get anything. So and even some guy today created a channel on Telegram called The Peer Mountain, and he copied my photo. He copied my name. He created a fake profile of me and several other team members and started a whole fake Telegram channel where he's obviously trying to scam people. I tried to go into it, but he immediately blocked me and kicked me out.
Wow. Oh, jeez.
It's amazing. So be on the lookout for that. And if you see anything suspicious, let us know.
Of course.
And so the community itself.
Exactly. Community helping each other. And you're not alone, Jed. There is a lot of projects that are having the same problem just as yours.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of fake accounts being created out there and trying to scam everybody for their Ethereum or Bitcoin. So yeah, you're not alone.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's all. That's one of the things to address. I mean, the community has to police itself really carefully because it's up to us. It's how we behave.
Right.
You know, this great thing that we have now can go on for a really long time if we take care of it and we act responsibly. But if we screw it up, then, you know, the big boys, the government's going to come in and shut it down, and it'll be rough and ugly. So I'd rather
Yeah.
that we take control now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, we don't want that. And hey,
Yeah.
Jed, I was actually, since we're speaking about challenges, what type of challenges does your project have at the moment? Like, what is the biggest obstacle that
Oh,
you
yeah.
could say?
There are numerous. I mean, it depends what front you look at. There are regulatory challenges. So we have, where we're blessed is that we have a great team and we have great partners helping us build. But resourcing, and that's one of the reasons we're doing the token sale, because one of the challenges is we need to get big fast.
Right.
And to do that, you need resources. So that's why we're selling tokens for, to the early adopters and early supporters, so that we can get big fast and achieve those objectives. Then we have technical risk. I mean, what we're doing is new. There's a lot of new technology involved. Any blockchain-based product that wants to go into full production has significant technical risk in it. It's just because it's new technology. So there's the resourcing, technical risk. We have competitors who are angling in, and because we're so transparent, we share a lot of our ideas, and they can then adapt our ideas into their projects if they're well funded. So there's lots of risk in there, and finally regulatory risk. So while we're building Peer Mountain to be something that can be used by financial institutions in the current regulatory environment, we also need to lobby, and we need to work with lawmakers and regulators so that they can update the legal system, because the legal system doesn't know how to deal with blockchain today, doesn't know how to deal with I mean, if you look at the Senate bill, I guess it was S 1249 or 42, I don't remember, but it's being debated in the Senate. It's a new updated anti-money laundering bill. And in there, they wrote that you're going to have to declare when you carry $10,000 or more worth of cryptocurrency across the U.S. border.
Oh, wow.
I don't even know how you can do that.
How would you do that? How would they know?
Carry
How would they know?
cryptocurrency across the border. It's on the ledger.
Exactly.
If it's Bitcoin, it's already in the U.S.
Exactly.
I mean,
it's everywhere.
That's just crazy.
Yeah, it's just there's such a huge disconnect between lawmakers and reality there.
Yeah.
So your Bitcoin is everywhere you go. It's on everywhere there's a Bitcoin node. Your Bitcoin is.
I guess you could say our government's a couple years behind as far as mostly adopted people like you and I, especially. Yeah.
It's going to take some lobbying and some explaining to do it.
Actually, here.
So that's also one of the reasons we're raising funds. We intend to assemble a good team of lobbyists and lawyers that can help us push this forward so we can deploy Peer Mountain.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, Judd, here in Illinois, it's actually accepted pretty well as far as if you're trying to create your own ICO. It's a little more simple than other places in this country or other states in this country. I mean, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think Montana just is debating some legislation on saying that all utility tokens would not be considered securities and would be sellable as a commodity.
Oh wow!
I think that's pretty awesome.
That is pretty awesome. Yeah. What other questions do you got for Jed?
So we were just talking about.
So we already talked about security and advantages. We spoke about competition. Yeah. Let's see.
Oh yeah. So as of right now, what would you consider your main focus for your project?
For the next couple of weeks, my main focus is the token sale.
Okay.
That's been occupying a lot of my time, but I really want to get back to the tech team. I mean, I'm running the tech teams and the token sale at the same time, but my main focus is to get back to building Peer Mountain and delivering great tech. And that's really where I want to be come April. I want to be focusing on that.
Yeah, because the token sale is very important. Like you mentioned, building up that volume and that community especially too, so they can adopt it better. Actually, that was one of my other questions. As far as adoption wise goes in your marketing, how well are you secured with that?
I think we're pretty good. I think we have a really good chance to become the digital ID platform for Switzerland. And if we can get a country where we then become the standard for that country, I think that's a very good first step.
Oh yeah.
And from there, and of all countries, Switzerland, that's the country to be in. And that's, it's the premium place. It's the crypto valley. They get it. One of the reasons the Swiss get it is they have a decentralized government to begin with. They actually have a federal government that's relatively weak, and they have cantons. that have their own governments. And in terms of representative to population ratio, they have a huge number of representatives. So most people know their lawmakers. They vote like 4 times a year. It's the most direct democracy on the planet. So, and it is very decentralized. So they get decentralization. It's just in their blood. They've been doing it for 900 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's,
I might
So
have to
that's
move there.
cool.
You
Yes,
have to move there.
it's not a bad place. I like it very much.
Switzerland. Yeah, it looks beautiful, honestly.
Yeah.
But hey,
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I mean, just to, I guess, just wrap things up now. What's it called? Anything you guys else, anything else you guys want to clear up?
I think we pretty much covered all the
All the
what we
details.
wanted to, all the details. Any questions that people would want to ask in the Telegram or anything on social media for you guys. I think we covered pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jed, thank you so much for joining us. We really
quick,
appreciate
Jed,
it.
did you want to cover anything?
Oh yeah.
No, that's good. I
Oh,
mean,
good,
if you
man.
guys have questions, ask away.
Okay.
We try to make everything clear and transparent. Our
Yeah.
Telegram channel's open all the time. I tend to go on there at least once a day and answer any questions that my team can't answer directly.
Okay.
So yeah, we're
Awesome.
open.
Thank you
Open
so
to
much.
talk.
All right, thank you so much, Jed. Once again, welcome to our AMA with the Crypto Bros. Thank you so much for joining us again, Jed, and we'll talk later.
Yeah.
All right. Have a
Thank
good
you
day.
guys very much.
Thank
Crypto
you.
Bros rock.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Thank you, man.
you.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Have a good day.
Thank you, guys.
Have a good one, Jed.
Take care.